Hey everybody, welcome to this Caregiver Coffee. My name is Matthew Estrad. I am a gerontologist in St. Tammany Parish, and I've been partnering with the Council on Aging in St. Tammany or Coast for over 10 years as the weekly caregiver support group facilitator and sometimes as an advisor, consultant, and educator and trainer of both staff and of clients. And this is an example of the education that I do offer on social media. So glad that you could join us. I'm going to talk a bit about, tell you about our support groups that we have that I just described that I facilitate. And also we'll talk about some aging topics, like lifespan versus health span and just aging well, healthy habits, etc. So I hope that you find this really helpful. My goal, just like one of the goals of the Council on Aging in St. Tammany is to help people to um, live a full life, live a healthy life, and to stay independent, stay even stay in their homes as long as it makes sense, and just to kind of like have these this golden age, our older year, sorry, our aging years be very fulfilling and full of life and vibrancy because there's just so much more life to be lived. It's not just, for the 20-year-olds and the 6-year-olds and the 30-year-olds, etc. So how do we do that? We do that with healthy habits. So, just a little bit about the caregiver support group that I facilitate. So we meet just about every Tuesday of the year, with exceptions being Christmas Eve. If Christmas Eve or Christmas falls on a Tuesday, and of course Mardi Gras falls on a Tuesday every year. And um, typically we end up moving the support group later in the week and not canceling unless I'm out of town, etc. But we've been doing that pretty consistently for 10 and a half years. And some of y'all watching this may have been a part of that, so I appreciate that. So we meet, like I said, every Tuesday, and we meet from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Most people stay the whole time. You're free to leave, whenever you want to, because we understand that, an hour might just be enough, or you may have caregiving duties. You may be able to just kind of stop by for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It's it's very informal, but very meaningful and impactful at the same time. So I don't want you to think when I say, okay, it's all right to stop by for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I don't mean to say like it's loosey goosey and there's not substantial stuff going on. It's just that we know that we need to be flexible, and all the caregivers appreciate that. So that are there or that can just kind of stop by. So there are no reservations that are needed. So you just kind of show up, and you can show up, once a month, twice a month. You can show up more than that. You can show up, 6 months later, that sort of thing. So I do keep a roster for the Council on Aging in St. Tammany, but there's no check-in attendance and all that kind of stuff. So, 6 p.m. Tuesdays, and the typical month looks like this. It looks like the first Tuesday of the month, we're at the Slidell Activity Center in person. The next week, the second Tuesday of the month, we are virtual, via Zoom. So that means you can join via your computer, or you can join using your iPad or other tablet. You can use your smartphone. You can join just using your calling in with your smartphone or even a landline phone if you still have a landline phone, as long as you can punch numbers in, punch codes, etc., which is not very difficult. You can do that. So you can join us. So I encourage you to try us in person, or virtually. The third Tuesday of the month, we are in person again, and but this time we're at the Covington Senior Activity Center off of Highway 190. I think it's North 10th Street, and like 2 blocks down. So that is the third Tuesday of the month, and then the fourth Tuesday. And sometimes, if there's a fifth Tuesday, sometimes we'll seek approval from the Council on Aging. We'll ask if they want us to meet. And so anyway, the fourth and sometimes the fifth Tuesday, we're back on the Zoom platform. So how do you find out where we are and how do you join us if we're on Zoom, etc.? Well, the best thing to do is to go to coastseniors.org and then go navigate over to caregiver resources. And then eventually you'll find a picture of me. And below there, we typically have a flyer. And that flyer has 2 months worth of dates. So, for example, we're in October 2025. We had September and October dates on that one, and we're about to publish a November, December 2025. So, and we do this so while we do meet on Tuesdays consistently, when there is a conflict, when there is Fat Tuesday or some other holiday, it's important to for you to see, okay, we moved it to Thursday because typically that's what we do. So it's good to know those exceptions on there. Plus, we have the address of the senior activity centers. We have the link and the phone number to the Zoom meeting. So this is a really good flyer to print out, put on your refrigerator or in your office or in your calendar, and just kind of have it handy so you can so you know where we'll be, when we'll be there, etc., and how to join us. So um, one last thing about the support group, and I don't always remember to mention this, is that we have a private email address. Sorry, we have a private reminder email that I send out to folks who end up signing up. And you can sign up by going to that same flyer I mentioned, and there's a link on there or a QR code, and you can just punch in your email address. And by private, I mean that when I send the email out, it only has your email address. You don't see others, they don't see yours. And this is simply a reminder I send out the day of the support group, and it doesn't mean that you're committed to showing up at all. We have over 100 people. Well, we have about 100 people that are on the list, but we don't, we get like five, six people, sometimes in person, sometimes virtually. So as you can see, there's not a lot of pressure, even if you're just getting the reminders. So, and it's all completely free and private. So I hope that helps. So with the support group discussed, I want to go into aging in a healthy way and the difference between lifespan and health span. And I'm speaking in general. There's a lot we can go very, very deep into this, but we won't today. But the basics, but I think basically everybody knows what a lifespan is. It's how long you live, and our lifespan has been increasing, with technology and with medicine and with modern comforts, and with just learning more. We have increased our lifespan over time as a population. Health span is something different. Health span is generally speaking, it's how long you're healthy. And what does healthy mean? Well, it can mean different things to different people, but I think a good general way of talking about it is that you're able to do the things that you want to do, that you are more independent. And, I know we're not completely independent ever. We are dependent on other people and relationships, et cetera. So understand that. But we independent in the way that we want to go somewhere and we're able to walk there or drive there. So you're still able to drive, you're still able to ambulate and walk, you're still able to make decisions. You still have your cognition intact, meaning that you can make decisions and you can still manage your money and go shopping and pick things out, and you can plan things and you can communicate with people and you can go into social situations and be with other people. You can volunteer. Perhaps you still work and want to work either in person or virtually. So that's what I mean by you're healthy, like you're wanting to do the things that you want to do. You're not limited by your physical, any kind of physical limitations or cognitive or thinking limitations. So, and the reason why I bring this up, lifespan versus health span, because there are a lot of people that they think about age as a number and how old they're going to be. And I think people still think about, but maybe not really consciously about health span. And yes, sure, I want to be 85, I want to be 90, I want to live to be 100. But what is your health like? What do you want to be able to do? So assuming I'm assuming that the things that you're able to do today, so if you play with the grandkids, if you enjoy hiking, if you enjoy volunteering at your social at a social organization or faith-based organization, I'm assuming you'll want to do these things as long as they're enjoyable. You're going to want to do them and not be limited as long as you're not limited by your physical or your cognitive abilities. So we want to keep doing those. So the question is, you're 100 years if you're 100 years old, are you still, let's say you're wanting to still do these things, are you still able to physically and cognitively? And if the answer is yes, and it is for me, I still want to be able to do those things that I enjoy doing now, as long as I do later. I don't want to be limited by my function. So what do I do? Well, I try to eat well. I try to do some kind of exercise every day. That includes, well, sorry, I won't go into the details just yet. So I want to eat well most of the time. I want to have some physical activity every day. I want to um, I want to socialize with people, and that's pretty easy because I have a family and I have friends and I belong to organizations. And I want to do things that are intellectually stimulating. So let me come back to those. And I want to have I want to have a spiritual life. So, and there are kind of other things, but I think those are the five main pillars that I think about. So, in these last few minutes. So for example, the first one is to eat well most of the time. I didn't always eat well. About 3 weeks ago, I went and actually had an appointment with a registered dietitian, a sports dietitian, at a health club. It was actually covered by my insurance. So I met with the dietitian, and we talked about goals, and we talked about calories, and we talked about nutrition. We talked about whole foods, foods that were encouraging, and she kind of gave me sort of like a lane to stay in, like avoid these things over here and avoid these things over there. So nutrition is really helpful because it provides the vitamins, the minerals, the proteins, the carbohydrates. We need all of these things. And there's not much difference, like scientifically, between the diets. Of course, a Mediterranean diet or a DASH diet is preferred. You want to avoid deep fried foods and things like that. But we do need carbs. We need protein, of course. We need all these things for our body and our brain to keep working. So I would recommend that you meet with a dietitian, even if it's not covered by your insurance. There might be programs out there that don't cost anything, like out in the community, but I think it's worth the investment. So that's nutrition. Exercise. I walk, I get up, and I didn't always do this, but like in the last month, I get up before I need to get up for work and get the family up. I'll get up and I'll walk my neighborhood for 20 to 40 minutes. Generally, 20 minutes is a mile, 40 minutes is 2 miles. So I generally aim for two miles, and it gets me moving, gets my body, my blood flowing, gets me thinking. I also do some prayer during that time. So it's time for me to kind of start the day, get my juices flowing, get ready, prepare for, what the day has ahead, whether it's fun or work or both. When I get back, I have coffee and I wake up the family. And then every other day, I do strength or resistance training to build muscle, to maintain muscle, and I stretch as well. Stretching is so important. So I want to be limber, and I don't do it that long, but I do it. So cardio, strength training, and stretching are important things to do, and these are all things that I recommend investing the money and the time, if possible, because it's really not that much and has a high yield. It will like give a lot back to you. In these things, if you have to get someone to coach you for like the exercise, to show you the right way to do it and kind of develop a program for you. Next is socialization. So I have groups of friends. I belong to volunteer organizations. Like I said, I have a family. that I love interacting with. I have hobbies, and I just enjoy contributing to different organizations and helping out. And then work also provides some socialization because I work on a team with others, and so interacting with others and not being alone. Although alone time I think is important, but for the most part, being interactive and being social as much as your personality allows is really important and is great for the brain for sure. We know that. And then what's next? Intellectual stimulation. I enjoy reading when I have time. I probably watch more educational videos to learn than I do have time to read, but I do love reading. So that's always important to do, to learn new skills, to learn about things that maybe you don't know about, but also you may not agree with, so you can kind of learn someone else's perspective. Because let's say that you are talking to someone who you don't agree with, and you think, okay, I'm not going to debate this person, but I'm going to have an exchange and a dialogue with them. Well, it's important to know the other side of the other perspective, the other argument that the other person might present to you. So we can learn about things that why other people might have different opinions than us. And I think that's healthy for many reasons, brain health, but also, just being a good person, being charitable with others, etc. So that's be great exercise, not only of the brain, but of the will to do that, to allow yourself to ingest and learn about a different perspective. The last one I'll talk about is spirituality. So I belong to a particular religion, and didn't always take it seriously, but I do take it seriously now. So it's something I encourage you to look into. Maybe you're in the same situation, or had been, or are where I was before. So whether you belong to a particular religion, just having, appreciating spirituality, whatever that means to you, and it can, so there's that private spirituality, right? Private prayer and reading and things like that. But then there's also the social. If you're part of a organized religion, or denomination, or actually a house of worship, church, etc., synagogue, it lends itself to a social aspect as well. And then you grow together and you learn from other people as well. So encourage you for that. So to do that, to look into that. So we talked about eating well most of the time. We talked about exercising three different ways, and getting help with those things as well, getting advice, getting coaching. We talked about socialization and volunteering, being around other people. We talked about intellectual stimulation, and we talked about spirituality, having some sense of that. So these are things that I can't point to a particular study right now, but they certainly they lend themselves to increasing your health span, and how long you're able to, increasing the amount of time you're able to be independent, as we think about that term, and being able to do the things that you want to do more frequently and eat more easily, as opposed to not taking care of yourself in these five pillars, and being someone who is stuck somewhere. Or yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, is still being alive, but not being able to do the things that you want to do. So let's work on those things. Let's think about what's important to us in our health span, what's important, what matters to us, and work help excuse me, let that be the motivation for hitting those five pillars: the eating well, even if you don't want to eat well, the exercising, if you feel like, a lot of people don't feel like working out, but you know what? It has a payoff, and your future self, as they say, your future self will thank you. So we'll end on that. Thank you for your attention. I hope this makes sense. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you have a different opinion? Have you already started on the path to this? Have you been doing it for a really long time? And also let me know what matters to you. What do you want to have a longer health span in order to do what? So thank you for being here. Thanks for supporting the Council on Aging in St. Tammany. And I look forward to being on your screen in a Caregiver Coffee in the future. Take care.